I am a narcissist. Okay, but let me explain. I feel like inherently everybody kind of is a narcissist. I feel like our selfishness kind of comes first ahead of a lot of people's emotions at times. And even though the people that have like a narcissism disorder are only a small minority of people, it still feels like everywhere I go, I still see people that are inherently narcissists or at least carry several narcissistic traits. And I feel like I can say that because I myself am one. I don't think that necessarily makes me a bad person, but maybe that's also my narcissistic ideals coming out. I don't necessarily think that I'm the center of the universe, but I also don't feel like I'm insignificant. Is that just me thinking that I am better than other people? No, not inherently. I would say through the time that I've been here on Earth, I feel like I've done my best to at least try to look at everybody like equals. I guess maybe when I was younger, I used to think a lot of people were, I guess, beneath me, which is kind of bad to say. I feel like nobody wants to hear that, right? That you're beneath them. But I kind of felt this way. I always got the top grades in my school, and I always thought that I was slightly, or let me not say slightly, I was well above average. Does this make me a narcissist? Maybe it was some braggadociousness, maybe it was confidence. Confidence that I so seeked in my social life, but I digress. When I was little, I thought I was on top of the world due to my intellect, but when I started to be in larger circles and people that were more like me, I started to realize, oh, each and every one of you kind of think that you are the top or the best in so-called categories, right? Whether it was math, reading, science, something along the lines. And I think for me specifically, I had a different shift. Maybe it was my empathy starting to grow back in people as I had lost it, or maybe it was just something else entirely. Maybe it was just me growing up. But I started to think of people less as, oh, you are beneath me, and more so like you are your own genius. But still, do I still think that I'm inherently smarter than the average person? I think yes. But what I would like to say too is that I also think that the average person is better at something than me, right? Maybe there is a category that I am lacking in which somebody will generally excel in. All that I think, at least, maybe this is me being narcissistic, is that I am overall above average. Maybe it's like the talks of God that I've been having a lot recently as well, or I'm kind of thinking more as like the words in scripture where it says all men are created equal. And I truly do believe that now, in a sense. But I also had a lot of contradictions growing up that kind of are still combating me to this day. But let's touch on something that I just mentioned a few seconds ago about the people around me having narcissistic traits, or I guess are narcissists themselves. I think it was really just starting to become a GT student, you know, gifted and talented, or so called, like boosted our egos of some kind. But I started to become friends with these people that thought that they were the best at certain subjects and always constantly competing for the top number one spot. And as if that was going to prove that they were generally the smartest person, I guess, was beneath us at the time. However, it is kind of the reality that it was. And I don't know. I think after a moment, I kind of thought like, this is stupid. Like, why should I fight for my dignity? Basically, I know I'm smart, and thus I looked at the people as if they were dogs, just growling and biting at each other, and kind of thought as myself the king among kings. Always too good to be with them, but then seeking their validation and their companionship. It's kind of backwards, right? You have these narcissistic traits and think that you're the on top of the world, yet when it comes down to it, the people that truly hold the power are the people that are able to communicate. And that was something that I could do horribly at the time. So that begs the question, are we all inherently narcissistic in some type of manner? I think yes. I think in some capacity, people are all trying to figure out how they're better than the other person. And I think that's the selfish nature of just our human body that kind of causes us to be that way. I kind of always think about it nowadays back into my religion, how we inherently sin. Like, as we are born, we are baptized. And just to preface, I'm a Catholic, right? We are baptized to wash us from our sin, even from birth, right? So inherently, all of us humans sin. And one thing that is very interesting to me is on the new latest Daniel Caesar album, Son of Spurgeon, he touches on how he's attracted to sin in a sense, right? And I think it's so true, right? The selfishness, the greediness, the gluttony that we all feel, I mean, inherently, these are sins that we are attracted to. Is that the devil talking to us? I think so in a sense. But also, too, I think God also gave us the free will to choose Him, right? We're meant to choose Him to then get rid of our narcissistic traits to be more in the wake of Him, right? As in the mission to be like Him. But I guess I still need a lot of work because I still find myself at times like I'm above certain people. Although my brain tells me that, yes, we are all equal, subconsciously, I think, damn, these people are stupid. But I don't mean to feel that way. It just is something inside of me that I need to kill sooner than later. Let me touch on one more topic though. Is it selfish of me to want better for myself? Is it selfish of me to think of myself first when there are people around me? Is it selfish of me to put my priorities ahead of somebody else? I'm basically saying the same thing, but these are all different ways that someone could spell it out to you. And if you truly manipulate somebody into favoring you, then you are narcissistic, as you hold those selfish desires to do good and be better for yourself and only yourself. Isn't that kind of funny? Kind of crazy, right? All of us are just kind of ugly. I fight this ugliness, but sometimes I still feel it creeping up on me. Maybe one day I'll be able to wash it away again, but it still feels like it's lingering, like it might never leave. But I do try hard to suppress it, and I hope that you can see that. Why should you be interested in the things I have to say? You shouldn't. If you don't want to be here, if you don't want to watch me, you don't have to. That's your selfish nature kicking in and telling you, well, this isn't benefiting me in any way, or I'm not getting an entertainment value or a thought provoking conversation with you in your own mind from this video. And that's okay. You're inclined to feel that way, although I beg you to think the opposite. I try my best to be as selfless and as authentic in the camera. However, I'm very new to it too. So sometimes I might think that I might have the best thing to say or the best advice, but it might not be true. So don't take my things with a grain of salt, but also double think whenever you hear the things that I say. Sometimes the things online, and I'm not saying me inherently, but they're misleading, right? So take what you can out of it, but be careful, as sometimes you might dig a little too deep and get your subconscious hooked on something that is bad for your brain. Anyways, I have no idea what I just yapped about, but I'll catch you.